Get so where down we go, way down we go. Whoa, you let your feet run wild. Time has come as we all mine. Do you dare to look them right in the eyes? Oh, yeah, someday we run you down till you fall, no more, and we're down.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Huddle Up podcast. I'm your host, Drew England. Thanks so much for joining us. I know it's a little bit of an early session, but you guys can go back and watch it if you're not watching live, but I had to take advantage and get my good friend Leah Beasley on with us. She's the Deputy Athletic Director at Penn State. She was here previously at Oklahoma and a few other stops, but I'll let her. First of all, thanks so much for joining us. I know your schedule and everything is crazy, especially this time of the year. So I appreciate you joining me.
Yeah, no, I'm glad to be here. And then I'll say it's a little weird with the blue, and I got the the Nittany Lion on. I did not plan that, by the way, but I do love seeing the OU behind you, Drew. So that's
well, it's game day for you guys, I know, and you're taking some time away and doing that, and I appreciate that. But no, for those people that may not know you, and I know I have a lot of OU fans and different people watching, but tell us a little bit about yourself, a quick little backstory, kind of where you grew up, how you got involved, things like that, and then kind of how it evolved into what you're doing now.
Absolutely. Well, one, thanks for being here. Thanks for letting me jump on with you. And I come from a long line of athletic enthusiasts. So I grew up in the South in Ruston, Louisiana. That's my hometown. My family, we all went to Louisiana Tech. I didn't think I would go to my hometown university. Thought I was going to be somewhere overseas or in New York or somewhere, but it was a good opportunity to play softball in college. So I was a student athlete at La Tech and followed in my family's footsteps, and was, I think, 4 years in, got my undergrad in marketing, and then got my MBA the next year in business. And so that's kind of what started the trajectory of this career. I wouldn't know. I couldn't have told you back then that I knew what I wanted to do, but I'm really grateful for the AD at the time, Jim Oakes, and my academic advisor, Stacy Gilbert, and she just kind of walked me through what that looked like. I declared, I didn't even know what I wanted to do at the time, and I knew that I loved being around people and different backgrounds and perspectives, and then I loved athletics. So we tried to kind of merge that together and build a more of a sports marketing background. Didn't know what those words meant at that time, but figured it out and had a really good time doing it. I was at La Tech for almost 8 years in event management and marketing, and then moved over to the role at Mississippi State, where I focused more on the marketing side. So got to experience the SEC, loved that level, loved the power level of collegiate athletics. Worked there for almost 9 years, worked my way up to administration there, and then jumped over to Oklahoma in the Big 12 at the time, helped Oklahoma get into the SEC a couple years ago, and then was there for about 3.5 years, and then got a call with Pat Kraft here at Penn State, and have loved my 4.5 months. So I don't recommend starting midway through a football season, but
that's got to be pretty crazy.
It's been a while, but it's been amazing. And my story has always involved athletics and sports, and then just people. And so that's what I'm still doing: relationships, athletics, and loving every bit of it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I know it wasn't easy sometimes with kind of starting from the bottom, literally like what you did. And me being a former high school football coach, stuff like that. And I've kind of gotten out of it doing some, real estate, property management stuff. And I also have friends that are still, knocking on my door, calling me, hey, you could do it part-time, stuff like that.
That's right.
But, and I love it. I love the passion, and who knows, maybe one of these days it'll happen. But, as far as your experience, you talked about that, but for those people that don't know what, like your current role as a deputy athletic director, tell everybody you're like, what is the day in the life of Leah Beasley and what she does at Penn State right now?
How long you got? How long is this?
Yeah, no doubt. Just give us a little, the Cliff Notes version. Yeah.
Well, the good news is that no day is the same. And so I love that. I rather be busy than bored, and I am never bored. I don't think I've been bored since my college days. So it's an amazing ride, and Penn State, Happy Valley is an amazing place. Pat Kraft is an amazing leader, has a great vision. So part of my role is taking my own vision, taking his vision, the university's vision, and basically serving our student athletes and building our brand and helping us make money. So that's it in a nutshell. But in grand scheme of things, I oversee the different units of the external team. It includes marketing and fan engagement. It includes promotions on that marketing side, the creative side, so photography, graphic design, video, everything that goes out publicly and kind of messages the Penn State brand and how we respond to those things, crisis communication, strategic communications, and also encompasses our part of our NIL solutions team, which is Roar Plus. And so that is a big piece of what I do day in and day out, is just truly trying to streamline a lot of our different buckets of NIL. As you know, it is so complicated and changes daily, but it is such a need, and we have to make sure that we are hitting on all cylinders, that we're wrapping up all of our coaches, our student athletes, and they know what we're trying to do for them and how we're trying to build their brand, and then also monetize their brand, partner them, pull them into our partnerships, work with our Playfly multimedia rights partner, and make sure that we're aligning on what student athlete A loves and wants and is interested in, and how that partners with donor B or partner B, and just kind of putting them together in a way that is a really, really cool synergy, but that also amplifies Penn State and the student athlete. So that's a lot of kind of what I do day in and day out, and have an incredible team that helps support Pat's mission and mine and our entire campus, really.
Yeah, no, that's a lot right there. That's definitely a mouthful and all that. And I know, certain people don't sometimes understand exactly what that encompasses, but there's a lot of moving parts within an athletic department, and everybody kind of has a role, whether it's, as small as maybe a small high school or a middle school, on up to where you're at that kind of level. And so I always wanted to kind of have people have some understanding of exactly what you do on a day-to-day and everything like that too. And some, fun things. And obviously there's some stressful things. There's some things that are not so fun sometimes and everything like that. I know you came into Penn State about 4.5 months ago. And then you obviously experienced a big coaching change you guys did at Penn State with, James Franklin leaving, and then hiring of Matt Campbell. Talk us through kind of that and what your kind of role was within that and how that kind of came about, and maybe, even actually, with Oklahoma as well, you were a part of a coaching change there too, and everything like that. Talk to us, maybe not specifics, but what that kind of looks like in an athletic department, and kind of the steps that it takes to finally get your head coach leaves, maybe takes another job or gets let go, and then the process, what it's like to find and hire a new head coach.
Absolutely. One, it's been a whirlwind, and I never would have, thought to be kind of walking into this. And one, it teaches you, and it helps. I mean, there's every little bit can help build your character, how you want to help our student athletes. So everything that was surrounding this change, our administration, Pat, our president, all of our leaders, myself, we were thinking about what's best for the student athlete, what's best for Penn State, period. And that was the decision that was made. It does not mean that the decision was not difficult and had a lot of repercussions and, heartbreaking at times, because you are affecting someone's livelihood and their family. And James Franklin is an incredible man. And I did not know him long, but in the conversations I had with him, he was asking personal questions that were, in personal in a way that, of course, I was willing to share him. It's my background and my family, and he wanted to know. So even my short time with him, that stood out to me. It wasn't just a, hey, how you doing? Help me promote my team. It was getting to know one of the people who were helping to promote the team. And so that's tough. And then to then go and make that change, personally, I can speak from my own experience. It was tough because you are looking at their family and you're looking at what's next for them. But at the same time, we go back to, as administration, we go back to what's best and the decision that is best. And Pat hit a home run with Matt Campbell, scored a touchdown. I shouldn't use the diamond scores, but scored a touchdown with the hiring of Matt. So Matt and his family, the staff that he's brought in, and our student athletes, we have filled our roster. So it was incredible for that experience too. But I will never say that. I mean, there was never a dull moment in any of that. But you're scrutinizing every decision. You are having to play it out with so many different scenarios. If I do this, then what domino does that fall? What domino does that hit? If I make this decision, what could happen next? And I know that our leadership did that. I know that we did that on the external side. And I know that internally too, everything matters. Every decision matters. And we had probably I don't know, 16, 17 page, confidential document to kind of take us through what the process of letting go and look like, and then also what the process of the next hire looked like. That document was about triple that, and because you have so many assets that you're considering, you have so many different things. It's so much.
Yeah, well, and nowadays with everything going on, the way the schedule is set up with transfer portal and NIL and everything like that, you can't afford to not, with the baseball analogy again, hit a home run, because there's a lot of people's jobs and different things that are kind of at stake, if you will. And then there's recruits, there's retention, there's all kinds of different factors that kind of play into that. And that right there is not an easy decision for a lot of people. And I think too often, fans only see it through a certain lens of, oh, my favorite college or whatever. They don't know what they're doing. I don't think that an athletic director or president or whoever just wakes up one day and just says, yeah, we got to get rid of our head coach. It's time. We don't really have a plan, but we'll see what's out there. And I think a lot of times people just think it's a knee-jerk reaction to things. But for you guys that are seeing that day to day and understanding what that is and everything, it's got to be a pretty hard process.
Absolutely. But again, it's what we signed up for. I mean, it is the responsibility that we have to our student athletes, to the fans, to ourselves, to what we want this department to be. And so I'm proud to work under someone like Pat Kraft, who has that strong vision and also has the character put behind it, and builds a staff of integrity and character despite how difficult it is. We made a decision. We're going to stick with the decision. We're going to move forward in the best way possible. And so it's really cool to see the behind the scenes of kind of what all goes into that. Of course, I've done it at other places. But
how different was it? How different was it at Oklahoma? Because it was a different situation. The head coach decided to go and leave and take another job. And, whether it was a surprise or whether it wasn't, how different was the process with that, and was it any it's probably not any less stressful or anything like that, but it's one of those things where I'm just curious we got After Dark right here going on at Penn State.
I know, I'm trying to, it's
just do some jumping jacks or something and it's fine.
I have to get out of the frame. There we go.
Yeah, there it is. Hey, there we go. But
it's you try to save money
a little bit. Yeah. Got to pay the light bill, right?
So I will say at Oklahoma, I actually came right after BV.
Yeah.
So although I worked, helped work with them and kind of get him acclimated to once he was there, and our team helped do that. But I came after that, so I obviously heard and knew what all went down. But I was not actually part of the hiring or announcement at Oklahoma. Now I've been through it at Mississippi State. Probably the most interesting was Mike Leach. So, and that was one question.
There you go. That's probably even better story right there.
Oh yeah, we could have a whole podcast on Mike Leach isms. So I actually have my pirate flag behind me.
I've got a book, Swing Your Sword. I love it.
That's right. He was an amazing man, and so was his family's amazing. So, but that was probably one of the most interesting, because he is just a character. But that one was different because it was a shorter process. It obviously wasn't in the middle of a season. I have not dealt with one in the middle of a season. So it was definitely, I learned a lot from it. And there's different people are fans, rightfully so. They want to know the stuff. They want to know the tea. And we knew we were going to make the right decision, but it was going to take time. And I think people got a little antsy and wanted to know what we were cooking up. Well, Pat Kraft he had a strong vision, and he knew what he wanted. And we took the time that was necessary to get the right person for the job. So I think those are the biggest differences, is the timeline and drawing that out, making sure that your communications plan, that we are supporting our interim head coach and Terry Smith, who did a phenomenal job, turned our season around, and we went to a bowl game, and that content there, while also leaving a path and a journey for the new coach to make his own mark and his own impact whenever we brought him in. So it was a little bit of a dance in that, but it was something that our team managed really well. And Pat led really well through that whole effort. It wasn't new for us. It's not supposed to be something that you're good at. You shouldn't be good at it. So it's just a matter of really thinking about all the different avenues. But this one just was really high stakes. So that's a little bit of a difference in this one at Penn State than other ones I've been through, is that this one was really, really high stakes.
Yeah, no doubt. And, with that, and we've talked a little bit about it, we've touched on it, but I want to kind of get your perspective, and then even maybe your thoughts a little bit, and then kind of how you handle at Penn State, you guys, the world of A, the transfer portal, and B, the NIL, and kind of how you guys navigate all of that. Especially, I know in your end, you're more of a, the NIL type of situation, and kind of just talk us through how Penn State goes about handling its NIL and making sure the players and student athletes are taken care of in that way. And then just kind of where those, I guess, funds, or how you guys, go about giving opportunities to your student athletes. And then also how it goes to, how students are getting paid, I guess, student athletes.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a multi-prong approach here at Penn State, and we have a NIL solutions team, and it really is we call it our marketing and branding initiatives and activations team. It's really branding and marketing for student athletes. That's how we're phrasing it. We know that NIL can have some negative connotations, but speaking as a former student athlete, there were times when I heard NIL was coming that I was like, this is crazy. Like we're giving you a free education. We are providing food and wonderful facilities and experiences beyond your wildest dreams, and gear and opportunities, all of these different things. But then you look at the numbers and you're like, okay, I understand. Like, our athletics departments are gaining a lot of revenue from the student athletes. So I'm not here to argue NIL or not. We are adapting, or we are falling behind. So we here at State have certainly adapted. I did want to give a little bit of a peek behind the curtain because of how I started thinking about it when I was at Mississippi State versus my transition into where I am now, of fully embracing it and wanting to give, our student athletes that opportunity to partner. Now, do I believe some of them is getting a little wild? Yes, I can honestly say that. Sure. Again, just speaking for myself. And there are some that when you see the stories of some of our student athletes using it to pay for their parents' medical bills, pay for one of their parents to come see them play, help them move out of a bad situation into a positive situation. That's the stuff that I'm like, this is the reward. Yeah. This is what we do this for.
And I think too often those stories don't get told. Like, we always hear about hey, this guy's making this, he shouldn't be making that, and this and that and other, but I love that side of the NIL, and so but
it makes a difference.
It does.
And that's what we're trying to do here is really tell that story. And that's kind of why we call it a solutions team, because we really are trying to figure out solutions for these student athletes to make them not only their best while they're here with us on campus, but also how are we setting them up for the future. I know that people use that as lip service, but that's truly why we have formed a multi-prong approach to our NIL solutions team. We have Roar Plus, which is a student athlete content driven platform. Yes, we use LeVar Arrington, who is a former stud and NFL pro baller, but he's amazing.
What universities and colleges are not trying to do that,
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
it's just another tool that you have, and
Right.
I don't think there's anything wrong with doing
Right.
that, because certainly
Well,
other schools are,
you're,
yeah.
yeah, and he's one of our biggest ambassadors and advocates.
Yeah.
So we use him to help train our student athletes. We use another former player, Dr. Omar Easy, and he and LeVar were actually roommates growing up, like in college. So it was kind of cool to see the connection. And Omar, his specialty is helping brand in the brand academy. We have a brand ambassador program where all the student athletes from every team are part of our ROAR ambassador program. So they actually, whatever they get and the memberships that they get a piece of that. And so that's really cool too, because it's not just football or men's basketball. It's all of our student athletes have the opportunity to benefit from the ROAR Solutions platform. We also have pieces of it that are outside of athletics, and that go through our MMR partner, our Playfly partner. They go through Athlete Capital Services. That is Athlete Capital Sports, excuse me. That's a separate entity. And then our collective. So all of these things have kind of merged together and some of them are third party, so that we can, again, be compliant, because that is something that's important for our department as well, is to make sure that we are doing things the right way. Now that does change every day, but we have a lot of different people and a lot of different teams who are kind of coming through that ROAR platform in order to basically bolster our NIL solution strategy, or our marketing and branding initiative strategy, because that's essentially what it is. It's providing the opportunities. We have a lot of wonderful donors who are also associated with businesses, and their best ambassadors are student athletes. They want that. And so we're providing the means and the access for that student athlete to be an entrepreneur and join with that business, and our donor help their business, help the student athlete portfolio and their resume, and then everybody wins. And ultimately it's helping Penn State. So that's the goal. Every time we're doing a deal and we're thinking about new ways, we want to partner with new partners and boost the brand of Penn State too. So that's always a question. We always are trying to talk to our comms team as well about what does grow our brand. We're constant communication with campus and how we can boost the overall campus brand too. Because sometimes it may be something that it may not, it might catch them off guard a little bit. There might not be that aligned partnership. So we want to make sure that everybody's on the same page of that. But the deals, they are all different sizes. They fit what, some of it is rev share. Some of it is true above the cap NIL dollars through partnerships. And some of it are a little bit smaller deals, but they have the opportunity to grow through some of our smaller deal platforms that we have with our partners. So it really is a multifaceted, multidimensional NIL solutions approach where every student athlete can benefit if they choose to.
Yeah. And I think the biggest question out there too, and I certainly, we cannot answer it because it's the $1 million question literally around the country, is how do we make every student athlete happy and feel like that they are getting what they, put in, so to speak, or their value is being, being seen. And so for me, I don't envy you on that situation where, you're having to try to figure out, okay, how do we allocate these and who deserves the bigger, NIL deals and who doesn't and everything like that. And so for you, how do you guys specifically navigate that? Is there like a process that you have in place, or, certain evaluations that you do with certain sports, and how you come up with those numbers and packages?
There are, and it's not a one size fit all. It's definitely not it's not a set standard. However, we are monitoring via influencer, Open Doors, some of your different platforms. We're monitoring our student athletes' market value, the deals that they've already gotten, the deals that they do have. And again, when you're getting a transfer, you're also taking on some of their deals and kind of what they have done in the past. So your market value is already a little bit higher with those transfers, especially those who are higher profile in the sports of football and basketball. So we're constantly looking at that. We do have GMs with many of our sports. So you've seen that model. Obviously, it's kind of gleaning from the professional model. And I'll say this, college athletics, in my opinion, is not set up yet to take on the pro model. However, we are trying to adapt and be nimble and understand more of what that looks like. So you've seen it in sports like football, especially, but men's basketball, women's basketball, we have it in other sports as well. And you're dealing with agents in Olympic sports as well. So all of those people are specifically hired for their backgrounds in how they evaluate talent, how they evaluate brand building, and how they look at the numbers of followers, impressions, engagements, how that can translate into a benefit for Penn State. And then also, how does then Penn State help give funds back to that student athlete based on their personal following, their personal brand. So we are looking at that constantly. Lots and lots of spreadsheets, lots and lots of hands in the spreadsheet to try to make the best decision at the end of the day.
Yep. And I mentioned earlier, my background has been in high school football and stuff like that. And with the high school, and I've done a lot of stuff in athletic departments and stuff like that. But here's a question I want to ask you. What would you tell, and I know that the transfer portal is kind of taken over the world of recruiting right now. What would you tell the high school athlete right now that is working, tirelessly to try to find that scholarship? And now that it seems like it's harder to get nowadays with a lot of schools, and I don't know where you guys are at with that, but a lot of these schools are looking to the transfer portal first for, because they don't want to spend money on development so much. So what would you tell the high school athletes out there that are trying to work hard to get a scholarship? Is that still possible for them?
Absolutely still possible. And that's something that Matt has talked about before, and past coaches that I've worked with, is we still want to have a diverse team. Like, we have guys that we've had on the team for years, where we actually had a meeting today about how to take our new guys. We have a pretty hefty new roster, and how to take those new guys, have our fans get to know them. But guess what? We're not forgetting about the guys who have put in the hours and the work here already. So our current players who are studs. And so we've talked to Matt about that. And the high school guys, not just the transfers that we want to tell the story of, but the high school players too. That is still a pipeline. It absolutely is still a pipeline. We talk about it all the time. And so that's still, like, I don't want any high school recruit to be disappointed or dejected because of the transfer portal. Yes, we hunt the transfer portal with our staff, but not me. I'm not of that. But that is something that the high school world is still very much alive and very much used by our staff. I don't know, it's on the timer or something. Happens all the time. This is fun for us. But I will say, cool. And I'll get it back. I know I'll get it back on, but
that's all right.
But I will say that there are other ways to, like, yes, I can't obviously tell a kid, hey, just play better and make sure that you have film on yourself. Sure. But what I can say is also there are other aspects that can help you get recruited, and that's how willing you are to speak to media, how you present yourself. That is something that a lot of coaches, it's tough to deal with a class of, let me say this gently, I'll just say it, jerks. Like, it's tough. Like, coaches don't want to deal with that all the time. Yes, they want good players, but when you have a whole team of selfish and somewhat jerks, that's tough to deal with. And the coach has already been in it long enough. They don't want to deal with it anymore. So we still have that other side of the coin, not just on the field play, but also how you're presenting yourself. And then don't turn down an opportunity to talk to a legitimate media member. Like, that needs to be there. The way the student athlete carries himself, don't say no to that. Like, we need that. And I know that you probably feel the same way, because it helps your brand, period. And the media member wants to help your brand too, because it's going to help their brand.
Well, and I tell student athletes and stuff like this too as well. Don't forget about the classroom piece of everything too, because that is another tool that's going to help you get further. And one day, and a lot of my players and stuff that have in the past, I always used to tell them, one day you're not going to be able to play sports. It's going to happen to all of us. I'm a former athlete. You're a former athlete. And there's other things that you're going to have to fall back on. And so I think right now it's so driven about NIL money, all this, and what I can get now. But there's also a plan that needs to be in place long after you finish, because not everybody's going to make it to the NFL or the NBA or Major League Baseball or whatever it is. And so that for me, and I'll stay old school until I die about that, is take care of your academics, take care of your classroom, and be the most marketable, well-rounded person when you're coming out of high school. Because for me,
100%.
I wasn't the most, studious and academically sound. I knew what I had to get, and I knew what the NCAA required for a scholarship, and I did a little bit above that. But I was a 3.0 student, but I probably could have done a whole lot better, and maybe had some more extra money in my pocket. But I didn't care. I knew,
Right.
hey, this is what it take to get a baseball scholarship. I'm with it.
That's right.
And so for students, I want to let them know that please don't give up on the classroom. Don't just think about the money. Don't just think about the scholarship. There's other avenues that, maybe the old school walk-on is not there for everybody, but there's still ways to get yourself in a good situation.
And that's right, 100%. And it's still called student athlete for a reason. So
that's it.
That is something that's important at a big school like Penn State, all the just as much as the other.
Yep, no doubt. And I know I don't want to keep you too long because I know you got to get back to your job and everything like that too. So, but I want to finish quickly with a little fun thing I started doing with people. It's called a this and that, and so I'm going to give you a couple things and you just pick. So, podcasts or playlists? What do you like better?
So good. I had to say playlist. Big music girl over here.
What's your type of music? What do you like?
I like it all. I really do. And mine is like game day music. I mean, it's literally a mix from I got country to R&B. I got some rap in there, some rock in there, some Christian in there. So there's a whole mix in there for my workout list.
I always tell people that I'm a mood listener. You'll know my mood by what I'm listening to right there. So here's another one, fun one. Are you a driver or are you a passenger? Like when you're on a road trip or you're a driver? Okay. I like that. I'm with you there. I'll let somebody drive for a little bit, but I kind of like want to be in control and do all that.
I'm a control freak, so that I don't know that I've let anybody drive. I'll be honest. So
there you go. All right, coffee or tea?
Tea, green tea.
Why that? See, I was gonna. You threw me one. I thought you were gonna say coffee. That's
I probably need to drink more coffee to keep rolling, but I'm a tea girl.
All right. Well, and I maybe this is a 3-parter because you like it. I will just say, okay, beach, mountains, or lake. Okay, because I know you like the lake too. So we'll give it a 3-parter there.
I gotta do lake just because of my boat, and my boat's actually still in Oklahoma, so it's still there.
Well, I'll take it for not this weekend, but when it gets, I'll take it for a spin. Make sure
I know
still.
I do miss her. Judy is her name. She's still there. Yeah. I'm gonna get her up here in the spring, so I'll come say hello. But definitely a lake. But I do love the mountain. I have a mountain. I can see the mountains from my office window, so it's beautiful. And there's a mountain about 20 minutes away that we can ski on. So I gotta figure out how to do that.
Hey, I gotta have the road trip. I gotta come for the whiteout. The picture in the back. Right. I want to experience that.
Whiteout is a bucket list item.
That is, for any college fan, that should be a bucket list. Online shopper or in-store shopper?
Oof, I'm not really a shopper. I go like twice a year and I spend way too much and I black out and just buy everything and then I get home and I'm set for a while. So I guess probably in-store. I'm tall. I have to try it on.
Yeah. Okay. I got you. And last question. It's a pretty easy one. Spicy or mild? What do you like your food?
Spicy. I'm a Louisiana girl, so I got to have.
Of course, Cajun, all that stuff.
That's right.
What is and I always ask people this, and maybe this is a weird question to ask, but we actually had this conversation during Christmas and all of other things. We're sitting around the table eating, and my girlfriend's dad asked. He goes, "Hey, what would be your death row meal?" And I'm like, "What?" And so I had to say chicken fried steak. Mashed potatoes and gravy and green beans. And that's kind of a fun question. So I'll end it with, what would be your death row meal?
Surf and turf. So filet, lobster, but also Taco Bell. If I'm going out, I want it all. So I'm a Taco Bell. It's like I like the good stuff, but I also like that Taco Bell side. That's my vice.
And I forgot about this key part too.
I might get that tonight.
My key part was, you get the meal, but you also get the dessert too. What would be your go-to dessert?
I'm like a chocolate mousse kind of girl. Dark chocolate.
German chocolate.
Okay. Look at us.
I like that. But no, Leah, it's been so much fun getting to hang out with you again. One of these days I'll get up to State College and have a time and do all that stuff. But wanted to thank our sponsors real quick. Jeremy Hodge Auto Group in Ardmore, got so many dealerships down there to choose from. Gridiron Spice Company. They're down in Texas. Got some guys right there that they coach high school football, and they come up with a great blend of spices. And then my good friend Mark Clayton, former All-American first-round pick of the Baltimore Ravens, has his own audio headphones company, Live Audio. Go get your headphones over there. Promo code 20% off. You'll get it. Use the promo code the Huddle Up. But for me, it's always been a pleasure. I always get a kick out of being around you and everything like that. But I'll let you go. But thanks so much for being on with me.
Thank you all. Really appreciate it. Thanks, Drew.